one guy, has LSU already spoken? Has Brian Kelly already been up
Yes,
there?
he
Okay.
got up, and you know what's funny? We're gonna play off this tomorrow, and hopefully you get the audio before the end of the show. You know, remember a couple years ago when he did that Cajun accent, like at the
Yes.
football game?
Yes.
So
Family, right?
yeah, and he gets asked about Ireland, right, Phil? And all of a sudden, I knew he was Catholic. I didn't know he was Irish Catholic. I should have, I guess, by Kelly. Then he starts really trying to push the Irish in him. And it was like as soon as he heard. There's a reporter from the United Kingdom that flew to Dallas and was asking him about the possibility of LSU playing in Ireland at some point, in Dublin, I guess. And he immediately just tried to push like the Irish accent and the Irish not like dialect. It was very funny. I was like, am I hearing this right? And then he went back kind of to talking how he normally talks. So
That's a guy who reads his clippings. He knows what people expect of him now.
Yes.
They expect some cringe moments from Brian Kelly, and if we don't get him, we think something's wrong.
Yeah, no, he's going to get it. So that was probably the funniest part, but I think you brought it up during the break. The funniest part thus far is I walked 2 feet away from Nick Saban earlier.
Is he wearing his credential now?
He wasn't when I walked by him, Phil.
For those who don't know, and I was watching the SEC Network but before Sankey came on, and they open up SEC Now, and there's Laura Rutledge and Takeo Spikes and Nick Saban, and Saban's in the middle, and they just detail how Saban was not allowed inside the room because he wasn't wearing his credential. Now I get it. He's not a coach any longer. He's issued a credential. When you're a coach and you show up with your players and you got an entourage and security, it's pretty obvious you're a coach.
Yeah.
But are you telling me that somebody who's working security there didn't know that what Nick Saban looks like and be like, okay, there might be 2 people, maybe 2, that aren't coaches or players that are at media days. You might just let them go where they want to go. You just got to know what their face looks like. One of them is the commissioner, and the other one is Nick Saban.
And apparently it didn't go that way. So I'm curious. I would have loved to see his reaction. I don't know if we're going to get that or not. That might have gone under the table. But
he was preparing for this his whole life. He was hall monitor in 3rd grade, man. He woke up today like, I wish somebody would come in without a lanyard.
Look, you're told to do a job, right? You got to stick to it. That's what Saban said. He was like, he's just trying to do his job. Takeo Spikes looks at him and said, fired. They got to be fired right now.
Matt, I don't know if you guys had like bag tags or stuff to get in the practice facility or anything back in the day. And I guess it wasn't fully renovated, but like that'd be the equivalent of like in the early 2000s, Matt's trying to go to practice or something, forgets his identification, and they don't let him in the building. That's what it was this morning, I guess, for Nick Saban.
See, I would think Spurrier would be on that. Like, if Spurrier shows up, you'd be like, come on in, Steve. Like, yeah.
Let him. That's exactly right. You got to know the people. So, all right, you mentioned Spurrier. Everybody wanted to hear Spurrier, in media days. Saban's not there. Well, I'm sure he's speaking. He's just not speaking up on the dais as the Alabama head coach. Who is the coach that everybody wants to hear from now? And I think, well, at least today, it's got to be Lane Kiffin.
Lane's speaking today. Yeah.
He speaks today. His father just passed away.
Yeah.
He's got this probably the best team Ole Miss has had in a long, long time. That's got to be the guy. Plus, you never quite know what he's going to say.
Yeah, I think it's Kiffin. I don't think it's close. I mean, it's never good timing to lose your father by any stretch of the imagination, but that has to be on the hearts of, or on his mind heading into the day. His focus is probably on that as well, in addition to everything he has to talk about. So I'm actually, you think about what Monty Kiffin was able to do at Arkansas and that defense in the late 70s. I'd like him to expand on that. I don't know if he's going to. I mean, that's personal, and I don't know which way he's going to go on that. But you just never know what he's going to say. And he may be, you think about the expectation that you just spoke to, Phil. I mean, is he going to be flamboyant? Is he going to be over the top? Is he going to be what he's been in years past, where Ole Miss is just kind of a middle-of-the-run program? And now, they're going to be – I would not be surprised by the end of the week if we see the highest vote totals go to – it's going to Georgia, like Matt, you said earlier. And then if Ole Miss is at 2, I'm not going to be surprised by that at all based on who they have on that roster. They got the best skill position players in the SEC. They have just a loaded defensive line. I mean, from a roster standpoint, they have about as much of a comparison with Georgia, and that's hard, but that would probably be the one that you looked at and say, yeah, they've got a SEC roster as close to Georgia as there is.
What do we know when the preseason teams come out? Like the Big 12 did it before anybody spoke last week. Is the SEC waiting until everybody has spoken?
Yeah, I think it gets released Thursday afternoon if I remember that right. You got to vote by Wednesday, and then I think it's Thursday afternoon. Maybe it's Friday. We got to get our votes in by a certain time period, but if memory serves me correct, it's either Thursday or Friday.
Okay. All-Star Home Run Derby tonight, Ty. It's not too far from where you're going to go. You sneaking in?
Yeah, we were talking about that. So the All-Star game is also obviously being in Globe Life. It's also tomorrow. There's an event in Globe Life, but I got more interest in watching the Home Run Derby than I do the All-Star game. I don't know how you feel about that, Phil, but it's just more appealing to me for just a common baseball fan. But yes, I've thought about it. I'm kind of on the fence right now if I'm going to skip the thing at the Dallas Theater tonight and just venture out to Globe Life for the All-Star game.
Find you a Colombian. They know how to sneak into games.
Just don't crush anybody on your way in, okay?
Okay, I'll do my best not to do that.
Yeah, you're a pretty peaceful guy, Ty. I can
try to
you
be.
in that. Yeah, you are. Hey, man, thanks for hopping on. We'll have you next. I think we got you tomorrow, don't we? We got you every day this week outside of Friday.
That's the plan, dude. Happy to do it. Happy to be here all week.
You and me on the radio again in the middle of the day. Ooh, brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Feels, doesn't it, Phil?
Yeah, it does. All right, Ty. Have a great rest of the day. And, hey, just take my advice. Go to the Home Run Derby, okay? It's better than whatever's going on at the theater. I guarantee you that.
Will do, buddy.
Okay, that's Ty Richardson at Radio Row in Dallas, brought to you by WT Equipment, your New Holland dealer for over 50 years. WT has earned the trust of the hardest working people in the country. Visit WTEquip.com. WT Equipment is your partner in progress. We'll open up our hotline if you want to get on, 877-377-6963. Halftime right back in a moment.
This is Halftime. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now. ESPN Arkansas is kicking off college football live from Radio Row in Dallas, Texas at SEC Media Days. Our shows provide insight on player and coach interviews, including special moments throughout the entire week. Make sure to tune in to the Morning Rush, Halftime, and Ruskin and Zach to get this unique coverage. Presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback, WT Equipment, and Limbird Real Estate Group.
It started as a dream, and here you are. It's moving day. But wait, isn't moving supposed to be stressful? Oh, that's right. You bought your home using Weichert Realtors. Your Weichert agent guided you from start to finish to help make sure we found you your perfect place. Dream, move, home, Weichert. Call your local Weichert Realtors office today and make your move. And look for our bright yellow signs. At Weichert Realtors, we sell more because we do more. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
You're listening to Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Get up to $6,500 off on 2024 GMC Sierras or $4,000 off and as low as 1.9% financing for 36 months with approved credit at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. The 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 has a 5.3-liter V8 engine, so you can conquer the road with confidence. Up to $6,500 off or $4,000 in discounts and as low as 1.9% financing. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit GoPaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
If you are involved in a divorce or custody case, you want an attorney you can trust to guide you through the process. The attorneys at Hickey and Hole Law Partners have over 7 decades of combined experience. Hickey and Hole have seen and heard nearly every scenario you can imagine, ready to put that experience to work for you to get the best results. Visit KevinHickeyLaw.com or give them a call today, 479-434-2414. Hickey and Hole Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
This summer at Hardee's, the BLT gets an upgrade with the new Frisco BLT Angus Burger and Frisco BLT hand-breaded chicken sandwich. The classic flavors of bacon, lettuce, and tomato, atop a famous charbroiled burger or signature hand-breaded chicken sandwich, all between 2 thick slices of toasted sourdough. Only for a limited time at Hardee's. Goodness in the making. Order ahead on the Hardee's app. Participation may vary. Exclusions apply by time of day.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance.
Call Jeff Clark in Fort Smith or Brad Howell in Van Buren.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
When I'm with you, baby, I go out of my head. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. All the things she do to me and everything is there. I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough. With the first line, I feel fall in love, and I just can't seem to get
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Man, I know this is Depeche Mode, but I just never think that this is Depeche Mode. I'm always thinking Personal Jesus, Enjoy the Silence from Violator. That's always what I think of.
Dude, I heard this one over the weekend. I was like, we got to play it. Got to play it. Yeah.
That's it.
CJ,
or C Unit, C-worm. That's called an earworm. Matt couldn't get that out of his head all weekend.
Yep.
He had to utilize a segment intro to expose his earworm.
The first one had another meaning with the band Pepper, or the song Pepper, sorry. That had a different one, and then this one had the other one. So you just got to decipher through it.
I'm really glad. Like, this is almost like halftime on a Monday is a little bit of like weekend earworm therapy for you, because I think you get some of these songs stuck in your head for a couple of days, and it just hits different. You can play it for yourself, but it's different when you play it for the millions of people that listen to halftime on a daily basis.
That's right.
That's exactly
right.
877-377-6963 for calls and texts when you want to get in with us today. Jamie in Fayetteville asked about someone with a credential that wasn't allowed to get in. He says, was Patrick Ewing asked to leave Madison Square Garden for not having credentials? Was it him, or was it Charles Oakley? Because Oakley had the bad blood with Dolan, the owner, and
with a lot of people.
Yeah. He had it. Well, but Dolan had him banned from Madison Square Garden, or at least kicked out of the arena for a game.
Barkley too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's like, I can talk to Barkley, but Barkley can't talk to me. I was like, whoa.
Oh man! Speaking of the Knicks, what do you think of the contract that Jalen Brunson signed?
What he signed for?
$156 million for 4 years. And the going theory, it's not a theory, it's true. I mean, next year, the new television contract kicks in. And so contract figures automatically in the NBA just skyrocket. They're saying he leaves over $100 million on the table by signing this contract this year. And what it does is it gives the Knicks some flexibility to actually, build a little bit of depth, which they might not have.
He's getting $500,000 a game. I don't know. I think that you sign a 4-year, $150 million deal now. He's so young, he's not going to finish that contract out. He's going to sign a new contract in 3 years anyways. I think when you're talking about that type of money, well, you can say, is it the Jaylen Brown contract, $350 million, or the Patrick Mahomes, but man, 4 years, $150 million.
I mean, it's an
wow.
enormous amount of money.
Yeah.
But for us to try to comprehend, he left money on the table by signing for $156 million over 4 years. I mean, that's why it's a little difficult to comprehend that idea. But I was reading the story about it. You mentioned Patrick Mahomes. There's how Tom Brady signed his series of contracts with the Pats. Derek Jeter with the Yankees. All of these teams won world championships because their most notable star took a little bit less, or maybe in this case, a lot less than they could have, which leaves you the ability to actually put a team together. So in this case, I think Brunson's saying, I am already going to be a multimillionaire many times over, and I can still sign another contract, like you're saying, in 3 or 4 years. But I'd like within those 3 or 4 years for us to win a championship during this time.
And I think some of that stuff is too, Phil. Once you become first team, second team, or third team, you can sign for more money. That was with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I don't know if Brunson was first team. I'm surprised Brunson wasn't on the Olympic team. As far as when you talk about this team needs another point guard. But I get it. They asked Steph and LeBron if they wanted to be on the team, and if they said yes, they're going to let those guys be on. And so you get it. But there is some younger, talented guys that I really feel like could help this team, and Brunson's one of them.
JT texted in. He thinks it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar who wasn't allowed in the Staples Center because he didn't have a credential.
Now, that's even worse than everybody else you said, though. Kareem should be allowed in every single basketball gym he wants to walk into. You'd be like, that's Kareem.
And it's not like you could say, who are you, sir? Like, I can understand maybe somebody doesn't know what Nick Saban looks like, but if you're working security at SEC Media Days, I would expect you do. For Kareem, I mean, come on. There aren't that many 7-footers that are bald that look like him. He's a fairly unique fellow. Like, I was listening to a story, I forget who the gentleman was. He was talking about a friendship that he had developed with Bill Walton, and going to, they weren't Grateful Dead shows, they were Dead and Company shows with Walton. Like, Bill Walton could talk his way into a Dead show without a ticket because he was Bill Walton, right? So if he didn't need a ticket to get into the Dead, maybe that's not a good comparison. Like, maybe security at SEC Media Days is a little bit different than at a Dead and Company show, just because the air might be a little bit clearer at SEC Media Days to breathe. But that's a little bit of the same thing. Bill Walton probably never needed a ticket for a Dead show for the last 20 years, and Nick Saban can't even get inside SEC Media Days. But Eddie's got thoughts. Eddie in Siloam Springs says, it's a Texas fan that wouldn't let him in it. 100%. Well, I mean, take your pick. There's plenty of Texas fans that live and work inside the Dallas Metroplex, so I'm sure maybe he was one of them. It looked like he handled it pretty well. Can you imagine walking into a Dead show with Bill Walton?
Well,
it'd be it would be like walking into a Lakers game with Kareem.
And because both of them are 6'11", so you're gonna see him as soon as you walk in. Absolutely.
Well, I've been denied getting into a stadium because I didn't have a credential, but I'm nobody. But there was the woman at Oklahoma State that mandated that I wear it around my neck. I hate things around my neck. I don't even wear a necklace. I hate the feeling of something hanging on the back of my neck. I can't stand the credentials that are handed to you. One of the things I love about the credentials that they give us from Arkansas is that they come with an ability to hook it to your belt loop. That's where all credentials belong. They don't belong on your chest or around your neck.
You could wear it like you're a soldier, crossways. You could just kind of put it over your shoulder and then kind of come under your armpit over there. That's
the
how
idea there. Yeah, or like wear it like a purse.
You should have seen Argentina walking into the clubhouse, because that's what they showed for 4 hours. They're like, this was recorded earlier. We're going to play the game in 17 hours now. But so all the Columbia guys had the thing underneath it, because it's culture. It's the way they were raised. It's the way they see their army, that wear their their garbs, whatever. And then all the Argentinians had it the regular way, or just the way you would think. So it was kind of cool to see that.
Did you see the scene at the gates at Hard Rock Stadium for why that match was delayed?
I honestly
didn't
think they were going to play the game. Like when it came out and happened, I was like, well, I guess they're going to play it tomorrow, and because it was delayed an hour and 15 minutes, I think, from start time. Yeah.
You read about these things that these sort of crushes at the gates that have happened at soccer matches around the world, but it's almost the same idea as what happened at remember Astroworld in Houston, the Travis Scott concert a couple of years ago. Just a crush at the gate to get in, and it led to a crush at the stage.
Well, there was over 100,000 people that showed up without a ticket.
Yeah,
they're trying to get a ticket, and even after the game started, you could see they were going to. I mean, there was 12 minutes, and you saw something. They were still climbing up to get in, which that's the way to do it. If you're going to sneak in, you got to wait till the game starts, and then they're kind of their heads are down. Then you can go get in.
I saw parents picking. They were right there in those little aisles that you to walk through the barrier to scan your ticket, and there's nowhere for them to go. They're being pushed up against the gate, and they're handing their kids to security guards across the gate to get them out of danger. I saw 6 kids just get picked up by their parents, handed to security guards, and then finally the crowd broke through, and it looked like bedlam, mass chaos for like 20 minutes. So
looked like Oklahoma Boomer Sooners. You can't cross that line to go grab the land too soon. We're going to blow the whistle. I guess we'd have to shoot the gun back then.
A little bit like storming the field at a football game. It's kind of
well.
We have
the World Cup, Phil, in just 2 years. 2 years time coming to the US of A. This was kind of a prereq. This is a showing of what we're going to do. Already our fields are the smallest fields. Like there's already a lot going against the USA when it comes to soccer. It's another thing that doesn't look good in the soccer world. You can't even control. And how many big events has that Miami Stadium held? Super Bowls, concerts, all sorts of stuff.
National championship games. Absolutely.
Couldn't keep out the Colombians.
877-377-6963 for calls and texts on halftime. Remember the Booyah Poppin' Prad Crasher from Pradco. It's the go-to lure for Jason Christie, Bassmaster Classic champion. The Booyah Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr. is a smaller version. It's the bait you use all summer on the Arkansas River frog fishing. Favorite thing to do in summer fishing. And the Poppin' Pad Crasher Jr. is the perfect size, has the right hook setup to catch them. You'll find it at LearNet.com and tackle stores everywhere. Stay with halftime. We are back to wrap up hour number 1 right after this.
This is halftime.
Family. That's what.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned. Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McCarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McCarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McCarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot.
It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill.
So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Colin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas.
Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video
It's time for a redo. Powder coating provides the toughness you need. Preserve your investment with powder coating from River City Coatings. River City Coatings, certified John Deere, Caterpillar, ISO 9001, Packer, and UL provider of tough. River City Coatings, 471-7675 or online at rivercitycoatings.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Sky smiling at me, nothing but blue sky do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but blue sky from now on.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Scott and Harrison shares a story that on the text line sounds exactly like my experience in Stillwater at the regional in 2022. He got yelled at by his own company security because he had his ID on his hip instead of around his neck. And that's what the lady at the entrance said to me. Like, sir, that's got to be around your neck. And I was holding it. I was holding it up for her to see. And I was going to tie it around my belt loop once I got inside. And she was going to do everything possible short of putting me in a stranglehold to put that thing around my neck. I just kept walking. Yes, I hear you. Here's my credential. There it is. That's my face. That's my name. And the thing never went around my neck. Well, when I feel one of those things going around my neck, it feels like someone's hands going around my neck. I can't do it. Cannot do it. I feel bad because, Matt, I don't know if we assigned anything to Christian over the weekend.
It's summer holidays, holiday hours. There was a lot going on in the world, even some extra stuff that we didn't know was going to happen. So it's okay. A little summertime off.
Okay. All right. Well, so that does mean once football season starts, like it's got to be in every week. You can't have a week off. Maybe during Thanksgiving week, maybe for a couple of weeks during December, while school is out. Are we supposed to mirror the school year? I guess we could do that. We did teach him something last week, the definition of an earworm, which I'm kind of beside myself that we had to define that for Christian. But hey, there's plenty of things I still don't know at the age of 47. So maybe at some point, student can be the teacher for us. Though I don't know what CUN's going to teach us. I have no idea what he's going to teach us. How to be young again. We need lessons in that.
Enthusiasm.
Man has to have enthusiasms. 877-377-6963. Our second hour includes Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation. Your calls and your texts. And we'll get a look at what happened in the Major League Draft and see which current Razorbacks could have their names called today as rounds 3 through 10, starting in about an hour. Halftime will be back right after this.
Hey, Ty Richardson for Jim. They have several locations in the Arkansas area, but I specifically want to talk to you about Jim Mart number 10. Great deli. My goodness. Great lunch, great dinner. But have you had the breakfast yet? It's the best in town. And they have that convenient drive-through window. So when you're heading north or south on 540, take exit number 6 for Jim Mart number 10. 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith. Jim, the leading gas station and convenience store in the area.
Adventures await you at Adventure, Oklahoma at Auto Finders Highway 64 in Roland. Introducing Segway UTVs. Fear no plates. With high-tech power sports from Segway. See the lineup of CF Moto and Arctic Cat 2 at Adventure, Oklahoma at Auto Finders. You say you want something a little wetter? Well, think summer on a G3 boat or Suncatcher pontoon boat. Financing available all ATVs and boats. Get your summer adventure started today at Adventure, Oklahoma at Auto Finders Highway 64 Roland. See autofindersok.com.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 Fort Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
Man, I wish I knew you were here. We hear that every day at In Stock Parts, located off Highway 45 across from the cold storage in Fort Smith. Are you a maintenance technician, landscaper, farmer, or a do-it-yourselfer in need of bearings, belts, or roller chain? Or safety supplies like gloves, safety glasses, or earplugs? Maybe you need drill bits, tap and die sets, lubricants, or even a gas-powered pump or generator. Don't waste your time driving around. Stop by In Stock Parts, your industrial parts resource, or check them out online at InStockParts.com. In Stock Parts.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, sunny and hot. Our high this afternoon, mid to upper 90s. We end up with a clear sky tonight and overnight low close to 75. Sunny skies, mid to upper 90s again on Tuesday, and then showers and thunderstorms will rumble through Wednesday. High temperatures back in the 80s to low 90s. I'm Sally Russell with the forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 45 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios.
Streaming on hitthatline.com. You got a team in here that doesn't respect it. If I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it. We're gonna go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field. Yeah. Take it to the house. Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head.
I have zero respect for saying no moss at halftime.
For one Razorback. It's vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Welcome back into our second hour on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, C Unit is in the studio chair as well. We'll be talking with Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation in about 15 minutes. So an open segment right now if you want to get on. 877-377-6963 is the number to get with us. 1 hour to go until the 3rd through 10th rounds of the Major League Baseball draft begin. If you got a chance to watch yesterday, I had an interesting experience yesterday, Matt, because when I remember watching the 2020 draft, and it's not like there was anything else to do that day. Was standing there, and the Tigers had just taken Spencer Torkelson with the first overall pick from Arizona State, and the Orioles had the second pick. And I'm standing there in front of the television when Rob Manfred says Heston Kjerstad, and I jumped as high as I could, nearly hit my head on the ceiling, and it was more out of surprise than anything else, because nobody thought that Kjerstad would go that early in the draft. And by the way, Heston, I don't know if you saw it, Matt, but he got hit on the helmet over the weekend. I think it was Friday night by Clay Holmes, reliever for the Yankees. There couldn't have been anything. There couldn't have been an intention behind that. It's an 0-2 count. It's raining. It's the 9th inning of a 3-run game. It wouldn't have made any sense for Holmes to intentionally hit Kjerstad, but then the bench is emptied because the Yankees were chirping at Brandon Hyde. And all I can think, Matt, is it's too bad the Yankees and the Orioles don't play again until I think the last week of the regular season, because they obviously don't like each other very much.
Has there been any surprise, except for they said the first pick was kind of a surprise, and I know you follow this a lot more than I do, second baseman. I was looking up an Australian kid, and he looks like he's extremely talented, obviously.
Yeah. We saw him Friday at Globe Life.
That wasn't as a surprise as Anthony Bennett going to Cleveland, number one. You know, he's still talented. He's going to be okay. Any other surprises in the first round that, like, anybody reach on anybody or something? That were you surprised that Hagen Smith went ahead of Jack?
Maybe a little bit,
because I know you were high. I know you like Jack.
Well, they were talking last night about the idea that Caglione might chase a little bit out of the strike zone a little bit more than some teams would like to see. But I saw somebody that developed from his second year in college to his third year in college to where he wasn't chasing as much. I mean, his strikeouts went down by like 40 or 45 strikeouts in the season, and for all that power, and for the other idea that he didn't get pitched to very much. So sooner or later, if you in the back of your mind are thinking, nobody's pitching to me, you might chase a little bit. The other thing about Caglione is that if he chased, he covered outside. We saw that he covered like 6 inches off the outside corner. It was interesting that when the Royals selected him, they listed him as a two-way player. The only one that went in the draft yesterday that was called a two-way player. I still would be surprised if the Royals have him pitch much, if at all. But the surprise is that Bazana goes first overall and that he's a second baseman that goes first overall, which might, I guess, say a little bit about, I don't know. I mean, for me, I thought it was a draft, at least in the first round, that was deep in hitting. But second basemen don't usually go first in the draft. I think he's the first one ever. You look at outfielders, you look at pitchers, you look at catchers, shortstops.
What about that second baseman from Tennessee that went to the Angels? What would be the difference? What makes that guy go 8 and then the guy go 1 when you're talking in the second baseman?
Probably a little more of a track record, maybe that he's left-handed. I mean, by the way, Bazana went, from I remember correctly, and I guess I'd have to look at my scorebook to double-check about this, but I know he didn't have a hit against Hagen Smith. He might have struck out all 3 of his at-bats against Hagen, because that was the game he struck out those 17 hitters in 6 innings. Here's a surprise for you, Matt. The first high school player taken went 9th to the Pirates. Connor Griffin, a shortstop out of Jackson Prep in Mississippi. That's the latest for the first high school player to go. And there wasn't a high school pitcher taken until, gosh, I mean, you got to go into the 20s for the first high school pitcher that was taken here. There he is, Cam Caminiti, who is cousin to Ken Caminiti, left-handed pitcher out of Saguaro High School in Arizona, went 24th overall to the Braves. So that's another thing that's just, it's not a surprise. I think it's more of a, an understanding that left-handed, first of all, pitchers out of high school, I think, are always going to be viewed now with a little more risk and might not be worth that risk in some cases. And they're looking for hitters with a track record, a college track record, and in a lot of cases, an SEC track record too. But for a moment yesterday, I thought Hagen might go first overall, just because he's a lefty who throws that hard with that kind of a wipeout slider that maybe he's not. He probably shouldn't have been a 1-1 pick. But for a moment, I thought to myself, maybe this will happen. And then the next few picks, well, once he got to the Rockies and the A's, the only thing I could think of was, please, not these places. And he didn't get picked by them. Makes perfect sense for the Rockies to pick Charlie Condon in that rarefied air. Condon will, he may set some records there. Nick Kurtz, the first baseman from Wake Forest, went to the A's, and then Hagen Smith, 5th to the White Sox. The Sox have history with left-handed pitchers in the draft. Chris Sale, Garrett Crochet. I think there's another one I'm not remembering very well, but
yeah, he went to Houston afterwards, right?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name either, but I can see his face.
Now the White Sox are going to be making trades at some point because it's Chicago and because they're not a contender. I don't see Hagen getting up to the big leagues this year.
Who's the next Razorback that's going to get drafted? Do we have another guy that's going to get?
I would think it's Peyton Stovall.
Stovall?
Mm-hmm. I can see him going early in the 3rd round today, really. And then Brady Tigert, Mason Molina, and Hudson White are players that might have their names called today. A couple of guys, if they are drafted today, a lot of it will depend upon the slot that they're drafted and what the teams offer them because they're incoming junior college players. Justin Thomas, the outfielder from Florida Southwestern, and Brett Iredale, who's also an Australian, like Bazana is, 3rd baseman from New Mexico Junior College. If those guys go today, then I doubt they make it to campus. If they don't go today, part of the other thing is, would they go tomorrow? And then, this is where the draft in Major League Baseball is so different than the others. You look at somebody that's drafted in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd round in the NFL, and you're like, well, that makes sense because you go best player available. You do the same in the NBA. When you're into the 3rd round of the Major League draft, and really it's more like once you get into the 5th or 6th round, it's a lot of times about drafting guys who will accept much lower than slot value so they can save their bonus pool money to sign players later on. So it's a really difficult thing to wrap your head around. And I'm getting texts in here about St. Louis needs to figure a trade for getting Hagen Smith from Chicago. That sounds like utter desperation. Hagen Smith is, I don't know, you ain't going to get drafted. He's not going to get traded right now after they just drafted him. I don't know anybody that's been traded within a year after they were drafted in Major League Baseball. Maybe it's happened, but I can't remember it. And it usually doesn't happen in any sport.
I was thinking of Dallas Keuchel, Phil, but he got drafted by the Astros for some reason.
Yeah. So, but he did pitch with the White Sox. I didn't know if he went to the White Sox first or the Astros, but Cardinals went with a shortstop from West Virginia, J.J. Weatherholt. He is the first shortstop to go in the draft. And, a guy like this at that age, you'd hope he's able to rise pretty quickly. But, everybody looked like, all right, who's going to get to the big leagues faster than Paul Skeens? Be a surprise if anybody does. Some of it might be a matter of a pitcher that can get up there in the last month and help somebody out that's trying to get to the postseason, and that's why I thought if Hagan would have lasted to number 6, I think Kansas City would have taken him, because that would have told me. I was surprised Caglione went as late as he did, 6th overall.
I think it's Hagan was 6th, Caglione was 7th.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah.
So if Hagan was picked by Kansas City, if he would have made it to St. Louis at 7th, I mean, these are teams that potentially could be fighting for that 6th or 7th spot, or even better spots in the postseason race. So in that case, yes, Hagan may have made his way to the big leagues, but he's playing for a team that's miserable, or is drafted by a team that's miserable. So they're not going to start his major league clock right now because they've got nothing to play for. But he's going to be given every single chance to be a frontline starter in the minor leagues. And will he get there next year? I don't know. I have a sense he'll do a little bit of pitching in the minor leagues in the second half this year, but they'll treat him very, very carefully right now. Let's go to the phones before we take the break. Brent is here with us, and Brent is in Searcy. Hey, Brent, been a while. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Phil. Matt, how are you doing?
Hello.
Phil, I wanted to talk a little bit about the major league draft, if I could.
Yeah.
Because I watched the first round, and what shocks you about the MLB draft, you don't have trades between teams before the picks, like you do in NBA or NFL.
That's right.
You know what I'm trying to say.
You can never. You can't trade your picks.
Oh, you can't. Okay, you cannot trade your picks. Okay, Phil, how does Hagen Smith fit into the White Sox? Because right now, I know they're gosh awful.
Well,
excuse me,
Brent. I think he fits in right now as their number one pitching prospect immediately, and I say that without really knowing much about the White Sox minor league organization. They need him to get to the big leagues pretty quickly, and he's got the kind of stuff and work ethic that he probably can get to the big leagues pretty quickly. Might need to improve his off speed a little bit, because you do have to have an off-speed pitch and be able to count on it on a weekly basis or an every start basis if you're going to be able to make it through the 5 to 6 innings. And he can do that. I think Hagen's one of the hardest working Razorback ball players in the history of the program. He got better every year. The velocity will stick. His breaking stuff is great. He just, he started with the split-fingered changeup this last year, and if that's the pitch that he's going to continue to work on for off-speed, it's probably just got to improve a bit for him to be a frontline starter. He can be. But I think automatically he's the top pitching prospect for Chicago.
Where do you think they start him this summer, Phil?
Man, I don't know. I mean, it's really a matter of how the folks who run the White Sox minor leagues view it. There's no rush. They don't need him to show right now that he can get through, 6 to 7 innings. This is somebody that threw the most innings of his career already in a season that for him started really in January when you're looking at the intra-squad games the team was playing. So I wouldn't be surprised if they treat him with kid gloves, and once he signs, they'll probably start him, but a lot of times those kids that are just drafted will go maybe 2 innings, maybe 3 innings. Just to get him acclimated to pro ball and pitching against wooden bats and the travel that goes along with it. But I just don't think that they're going to really work him all that hard this year. I think that a lot of that quote-unquote hard work will be, in the offseason to work on that splitter. And then once he gets to spring training, see where it goes. Because right now his stuff would pitch in the major leagues as a reliever, I think. But you're not drafting a reliever 5th overall.
They'll start him in A-ball or rookie league, or that's what I meant.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there really isn't a rookie league anymore, Brent. It's all complexes. It's in the spring training complexes. I'd imagine that's where they start him, and then if there is a promotion, slowly work your way up. I'd be surprised if he's at Double-A by the end of the season, but you've seen some prospects work their way up pretty quickly. Wherever he goes, though, he's going to be the toughest. He's going to be the toughest pitcher that some of these guys face. Brent, it's good to hear from you. Thank you very much. 877-377-6963. We got a break. We'll talk with Mike Irwin from Pig Trail Nation right after these words.
This is Halftime. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
The most pressing issue for him is when the slobbering hog is going back on the court.
And will the slobbering hog be drinking a Coke or a Pepsi?
The slobbering hog is actually on the court 2 times now, adjacent to Coach Nolan Richardson's signature. I don't know that it's going to go back at midcourt anytime soon, but it's on there twice.
Don't miss The Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Finders is having a vacation sale. That's right. Take a vacation from payments for 90 days and a vacation from sales tax. This month, get your sales tax paid and no payments for 90 days. The lot is full with pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs with huge discounts. And right now, there's easy financing and all certified pre-owns come with a certified pre-owned warranty. Your search ends at Auto Finders in Roland. Financing for all types of credit. Check out the boats and ATVs too. Auto Finders, Highway 64 in Roland or AutoFindersOK.com. Your search ends here.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westart Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westart Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drain, gurgling toilets and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
Waiting on someone to bale your hay? Come in to Gray Brothers Equipment and let us show you how affordable only your own Kubota hay equipment can be. Bale your hay when it's ready, not when it's burned up. With economical pricing at Gray Brothers and affordable interest rates from Kubota, this year is the year to bale your own hay. That's Gray Brothers Equipment in Fort Smith and Poto, where if you pick orange, you'll never get a lemon.
This ad is for the paint store in Van Buren. I doubt you thought paint was anything like football, right? So for football, you need a team. For painting, you might need a primer, the perfect color, maybe a top coat, and bug juice to keep the spiders and bugs away, right? So it takes a team of products to make the winning paint job. The right place for that is in Van Buren at the paint store, and the right place for certified grass-fed beef from M&M Farms in Rudy. That's right, all at 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren.
Missing or broken teeth? Sharp Smiles wants you to start chewing again with dental implants. Scared of the dentist? Sharp Smiles will help you overcome your fear. Big dental problems? Sharp Smiles Modern Dentistry and Implants is your answer to your dental needs and services, where your smile is top priority. Get the smile you have always wanted from the friendly faces at Sharp Smiles, 2600 Market Trace, Suite B, off Jenny Lind across from Harps. For more information, visit the website at sharpsmilesdds.com or call 648-9988.
Are you looking for a great deal on a previously owned vehicle but want to avoid high-pressure sales? If so, you need to visit Edwards Auto Sales in Roland. For over 30 years, Ernie Edwards and his staff have helped folks from Arkansas and Oklahoma River Valley buy a quality vehicle and offer a Buy Here, Pay Here program as part of their services. Some restrictions may apply. Come visit Edwards Auto Center newly remodeled facility, 3 miles west of the Garrison Bridge, the first car dealer on your right, or log on at edwardsautosalesinc.com.
Summertime in Arkansas means pond and creek fishing, and nothing catches bass and bluegill in a pond like a Rebel Crickhopper. You can twitch it, pop it, walk it, and swim it. It's the ultralight fishing lure that looks and acts like a real grasshopper. The Crickhopper works great in tandem with light spinning rods and reels with 4 or 6 pound fishing line. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle shops everywhere. The Rebel Crickhopper.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
What I want,
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Headed over to our hotline where Mike Irwin is with us from Pig Trail Nation as SEC Media Days start off. Mike, how you doing today?
Good. Have you guys discussed this statement that Greg Sankey made just maybe an hour or so ago at Media Days about the athletes not wanting to be employees of the university?
We hadn't hit that one up yet, but that was certainly that was one thing that now he said he's spoken to a lot of athletes and that he views himself as an advocate for student athletes. I don't know if he said first and foremost. I've always thought that the commissioner of the SEC really is like the commissioner of a major league. You really are representative of the owners, which means the athletic directors and the chancellors and all of that. So what did you make of that statement?
Here's what I read into that. If I'm these athletes, it sounds like to me a lot of them have agents, and we know they do, and the agents are going to say, what? You don't want this. It's going to reduce the amount you're getting. Because look what college athletes have, especially the high-profile guys that are getting all the money, the football players, the basketball players. They've got no draft, no salary cap, total free agency because they have no contracts. They've got the best of everything, and that cannot continue, guys. First of all, there's Title IX lawsuits, more than one, awaiting all of these schools, because sooner or later you've got to start paying a lot of these female athletes more, and really just athletes in general. And that's what this super division would do by paying these athletes. Okay, you get your scholarship, your normal benefits, and then you add a total on the top of that, $30,000 a year, $40,000. If you give it to each athlete, you eliminate the issues that we've already seen, issues that popped up in Arkansas's football program last year. It's just common sense. Plus, anybody with a brain knows you cannot continue to allow the open free agency exists right now. You've got guys going to a school. There have even been some instances where somebody went to a school, didn't even compete, and then left again and went to another school because you've got this open bidding for athletes through the portal, which would never happen in professional sports. So I can see why they don't want it. They've got the best of both worlds. But I want to hear what all athletes say, not just football players and high-profile basketball players. Talk to some of these athletes in some of these spring sports and see what they have to say.
Mike, these football kids, when you're saying they all have agents now, so they're already being contacted in the middle of the season, because the rule is you can't talk the player. But somebody's contacting these players, and there's an agent that's relaying this message that says, hey, so such and such school is going to give you this amount of money next year. So that's why I think you see a lot of these kids opt out. You see a lot of these kids. I'm not saying Rocket Sanders wasn't hurt last year, but I think he saw what was going on, and people are advising him, man, there's no reason to play this year. Your knee's a little banged up. Stay out. I think you're going to see a lot more of that in college football.
Absolutely, and that's why this is probably going to change. Again, there's two reasons why I think you're going to see athletes become employees of the university. Number one is what I've already mentioned. It's going to be more fair for the other athletes that aren't making all this money right now, and especially it's going to deal with potential Title IX lawsuits. And, and the other thing is, if you don't do something, you're going to lose the fans. Fans are sick and tired of a guy coming to their school for 1 year and then leaving because he gets a better offer to go to another school. Just the open bidding of players, like there's no contract anymore. I mean, working at a television station, I got a contract. You have contracts. You can't just jump up and go to another place. You sign a contract. You say, I'm going to work here for this amount for 2 or 3 years. These athletes are just doing whatever they want.
This whole idea of the Super League's got to be an undercurrent at this Media Day event and every other Media Day event, because on the outside, above the surface, the conversation is all about, will the ACC break up? Florida State, Clemson, where are they going to go? Big 12 seems where they're going to go. You got Greg Sankey talking about 16 schools. 16 schools today, 16 schools tomorrow. Nobody's going to bring up Super League. You're not going to hear a commissioner talk about that. That question gets asked. That question will be, you'll get commissioners speak about that. But it does seem that's the future of the sport. It's just the powers that be don't want to talk about it publicly.
Yeah, if this Super League comes about, all this stuff changes anyway. You're going to have, what I've heard is 45 schools, maybe 64, and they're going to split them up into various conferences. You can call them whatever you want. If they're smart, they'll do it by regions. Because this talk about the ACC now joining the Big 12, are you kidding me? You're going to have people from the East Coast playing people from the West Coast in volleyball. You're going to have people flying all over the country. That's nuts. So if you reorganize this thing and do it by more geographical location and everybody's having to provide the same amount, then you eliminate the open bidding of players because you'd no longer be able to bid for players. You just get this amount. Now, there may be extra NIL money available for some players, but they would have to do that after they got on campus. It would allow the NCAA to go back and enforce its rules. Right now, it can't enforce any rules.
Well, you got to find a way. You got to find a way to tie, length of time on campus to something. In professional sports, we do this through contracts that involve money. This is a job. You will be paid this amount to play this many games. It's pretty easy to look into that. Then all the other contract language comes afterwards. I mean, if you're talking about how to not have, everybody's a free agent every year. Then there has to be a way to tie a contract to something. And it has to be money because that's the only thing it can be tied to. It's not going to be tied to the scholarship.
And think about why these agents would be telling athletes, don't do this. You don't want to be for this. Spread it around. We don't want to do this. Because the agents are going to make less money. They don't want that. So somebody is going to have to wake up and start talking about real issues here and what has to be done to save college athletics. Because I've covered college athletics for over 50 years, and I know the difference between a typical college sports fan and a pro fan. They have a different mentality about things. And I've talked to Razorback fans left and right all over the place, and there's just way more of them that are upset about this than accepting of it. And they want something to be done. They're willing to ride along with this for a while, but they don't want it to last forever because it's just, you want to, I don't know, you're almost getting into a situation where it's like being a fan of a minor league baseball team. You don't want to watch a minor league team. You get excited about a guy today and he's gone tomorrow. You can't really, get into any of this stuff. And I think college sports fans want to see a kid come in and be around for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, you want to see the maturity and the maturation process. No question about it. With SEC Media Days, Mike, with it going on this week, who's the one coach you want to hear from? And would it be Lane Kiffin that's going today? I think Coach Pittman goes in a couple of days, but who's the one coach you want to hear from, and what would you ask?
Yeah, I'd ask Kiffin about how are you going to deal with the rat poison? We've talked about rat poison. All Ole Miss has heard about for the last 8 or 9 months is how good they're going to be. They're going to win the SEC. They may compete for a national championship because of the way they use their NIL, the portal people they got. So I'd ask him, how are you handling that? How are you going to handle with all these expectations with your fan base? And really, honestly, with Sam Pittman, it's the same thing. How are you going to deal with all of these fans that think you're about to be fired? Now, he did answer this a little bit the other day, and it was an interesting comment. Somebody asked him if he felt like he was on the hot seat, and he said, I'm on the hot seat with some fans. I'm not on the hot seat with my boss. So let's see if he says something like that at Media Days. But to be honest with you, Matt, you know who I want to hear from? Taylor Green. This kid is going from the Mountain West to the SEC. He's going to go from a press conference where he's got 15 people in it, 20, to walking in that big room at SEC Media Days where there's 500, 600 writers in there throwing questions at you. That is a test of kind of how you're going to handle all this situation.
We feel really good about Andrew Armstrong. This is something I'll get into in the next segment. Armstrong, I think, can improve, but even if he doesn't, if he gives you the same kind of season he had the year before, I guess you'd be pretty happy. But who else amongst this group of wide receivers can be a legit number 2 or maybe even the number 1, because you can't just have the one weapon. I think that I like what we've got in terms of talent, in terms of speed. I'm just not quite sure who else is going to be featured this year.
I've got my eye on Satina. I mean, that kid has speed, and speed is what does it. And Bobby Petrino loves to work with athletes who are fast. I just think he's going to have a big year. He's a local kid. You want to see it happen, but I think there's a lot of reasons to believe that, he can do this. Now, it's probably too much to expect this pro baseball player that showed up to maybe his first year to do something amazing, but on the other hand, he's mature. And then they got this fast wide receiver out of Texas that was a quarterback, and they convinced him to come here as a wide receiver, and he's really fast too. I think with Petrino, based on what I saw when he was here before, he's gonna feature the speed guys.
Offense can take I think we all expect it's not just a matter that you couldn't be much worse than the offense was last year. Looking at the personnel, the idea of a second year for Ty Washington and a second year for Luke Hasz, and they're both healthy, rebuilt offensive line. It does feel like the offense this year under Bobby Petrino can take a giant step forward, not just a small step.
The only thing that's going to hurt if it happens is injuries, because when I look at this team and the way they rebuilt it, it's good one deep. The offensive line looks pretty good one deep. What happens if you start getting injuries there? Same thing at wide receiver. Same thing at running back. You got a couple of running backs in there that look pretty good. Well, you got to just hope. Arkansas is due to have a relatively injury-free season. It just seems like every year stuff pops up like this. But that's the one thing I would worry about is I think they're in good shape one deep right now. Let's see what happens when they start playing games.
Hey, Mike, what's your 3 teams? If there's going to be at least 3 SEC teams that make the playoff 12, right now, what would your 3 teams be?
Well, I mean, you'd traditionally go with Georgia, obviously. Alabama's such a question mark under a new coach. I'm not going to say Texas. Some people are saying that. I want to see how they handle the SEC. My buddies in Lubbock, the last 7, 8, 9 years, I'd call them up, and they're always talking about, Texas lost to Kansas State, Texas lost to Iowa State, Texas lost to Texas Tech. Let's see if they get tripped up like that. So I'm not going to pick them, but I'd go with Alabama maybe. I'd go with Georgia. I'm probably go with Ole Miss. I think they're going to be good, and Lane Kiffin is a good coach, and he's really built them up. So we'll see.
I should be talking in about an hour, I think, and we'll be listening once we get off the air here. Mike, always appreciate your time on these Mondays. Thank you very much. We'll revisit next week.
See you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike Irwin, Pig Trail Nation, with us each Monday on Halftime. Remember Crabtree RV Center in Alma when you're making big adventure plans for you and your family over this summer and any other summer. There is an RV on the lot at Crabtree RV Center that fits your family's needs, and they're going to help you find that perfect RV for those adventures, plus the service and parts department on site and everything that you need in between at Crabtree RV, where they've been making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years and 4 generations. CrabtreeRV.com. Want to get on Halftime? 877-377-6963. We're back in just a moment.
Matt Jones, don't be so cool, dude.
This is Halftime.
ESPN Arkansas is kicking off college football live from Radio Row in Dallas, Texas at SEC Media Days. Our shows provide insight on player and coach interviews, including special moments throughout the entire week. Make sure to tune in to the Morning Rush, Halftime, and Ruskin and Zag to get this unique coverage presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback, WT, and Limbird Real Estate Group.
You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line Now.
Hog fans, this is Matt.
This is Robert.
And this is Elizabeth, and we're with the Stadium Shop on Razorback.
The only local, family, and alumni-owned Razorback store.
Yep, our names are on Senior Walk, and we understand what that charging Razorback means.
From new students to season ticket holders, we have everything you need.
From floor coverings, wall art, game room items, and other stuff to decorate your home or dorm room.
To things for your pet or all sorts of clothing, we have it all.
We feature brands like Champion, Cutter & Buck, Tommy Bahama, Columbia, and many, many others, all in the largest Razorback store south of the North Pole.
You know, your dad's site's starting to go viral.
Hey, what, is that a new thing? Can I get a pill or a shot for that?
Anyway, you can call us at 479-STADIUM or 479-782-3486.
Or drop by the store at 989 South Razorback Road next to Baum-Walker Stadium in Fayetteville. Or if you need to, you can shop us online at them Gram things.
Dad, let me do this. What he means is our website, which is shoponrazorback.com.
Folks, it does not get more Razorback than us.
Go
Hogs.
This is halftime.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and HitThatLine.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Colin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video is powered by the pros at
You got so much to do and only so many hours in a day. Hey, but you know that when the truth is told that you can get what you want or you can just get old, you're gonna kick off before you even get halfway through. Ooh, when will you realize Vienna waits for you?
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Oh, MJ hitting me in the feels with this song right here. This that's Vienna by Billy Joel, which I read yesterday is having a massive, like either second or third life amongst women in their 20s to early 30s. Just kind of has a message that resonates with them. And that song by Billy, that's on the Stranger album. I mean, that album's got Scenes in an Italian Restaurant, The Stranger, a couple other songs that are just massive hits. And Vienna was not a hit off that album, but now it's actually become really popular.
Celebrate his entire catalog, and I think that it's going to have to be not. I don't know if it needs to be mandatory, but I mean, once a week you got to have a Billy Joel song on the comeback. So
well, that's for B.E. in Clarksville. He wouldn't be able to live without
it,
right?
Yeah,
just absolutely wouldn't be able to live without it. On that album, The Stranger, Moving Out, Just the Way You Are,
yeah,
She's Always a Woman, The Stranger, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, Only the Good Die Young. I mean,
you just press play and let it go.
Just let it go.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is that album, when I got, you and I both had honeymoons on Maui.
Mm-hmm.
My ex and I, we had one album for the entire week, and it was that one. We just forgot to bring music. I mean, this would have been 2005, so we didn't have an aux cable. Everybody on Maui, when you go, I think it's in the laws in the state, you have to rent a red Ford Mustang convertible. There were like 80 of them on the streets.
Yeah, or a Jeep.
Yes,
yeah,
one of those two things. Otherwise, you go to jail. And we had one album. It was The Stranger by Billy Joel. I already knew every lyric on that album before that week. Talk about an earworm. That was a whole album that was an earworm way back when. So thanks for bringing that one up. I also remember there was a character on the show Taxi that sang that song right around the time it came out. So, have you ever seen Taxi, the sitcom? Judd Hirsch. Man, that was Tony Danza's in it. You got Danny DeVito, Mary Lou Henner, and of course Andy Kaufman. And then who's why am I forgetting our name of the doctor from Back to the Future? Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah,
he's in it too. It's one of the funniest TV shows of all time.
The brass section at the Euro at the championship, they were playing "Strangers in the Night." You could hear it kind of going over the crowd. You know, they play different.
Doobie doo. They used to be the theme song for. You remember Bud Ice?
Yes. Yeah.
Bud Ice was the official sponsor of the NHL for a few years.
6-pack of tall boys under $10 all day. Yeah.
That's when there were like 8 different kinds of Bud. There was dry, there was ice, and light and heavy, and probably a couple others I can't remember right now. But yeah, Bud Ice was the official beer of the NHL, and they had the commercials with the penguin. It's creepy, really creepy commercials, and he would sing just the doobie doobie doo part of Strangers in the Night on the commercials. Thanks. You've got 2 more earworms in my head here. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts. Jamie in Fayetteville texted in. He said he saw that Hagen Smith's father didn't look too pleased when he was drafted by the Whites. I didn't see that. Honestly, I don't know.
It reminded me of the Penguin of Billy Madison, though. That same commercial that you had with
with
creepy.
Billy,
with Billy the Penguin. You're like, hey, Penguin.
You know, there's a hotel. It's the 21C. I think is it called 21C, 31C in Bentonville, right there near the square, where there are like little penguin statuettes that are 4 feet tall that are just there. People, you can move them. You can actually. Would this freak you out? Elevator door opens. Nobody's in there except 3 6-foot penguin statues that are staring at you. And then all of a sudden, in the back of your head, you hear doobie doobie doo.
Well, if I get a choice, which I don't know that you do, but I'm coming back as a penguin. That's just how it is. I mean, if you get a choice, I don't know what animal are you coming. What's your spirit animal? What are you coming? My spirit animal is a penguin. See music. You got a spirit animal?
I'm trying to think to myself, why are you choosing a penguin? Is it because he's cool?
Because they're always chilling.
Because that's right. A sloth.
Yeah.
Because you move so slowly, isn't that?
Slothy.
I don't know. I'm just kind of like
Sea slushy sloth.
No, I don't.
Sea sloth.
I move slow in my mind. I just kind of roll with it.
You're much quicker than a sloth when it comes to hitting the commercial break. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
he's fast when he wants to be.
He is the first person I think who has ever said his spirit animal is a sloth.
That was the cool. We could all go home right now. I think that was.
We really have
was
to do
the
another
mic drop.
hour and 15 minutes
That
of
was
this.
a mic drop.
Because I was going to say cat, because all I'd want to do is just lay over here, watching somebody else work. But it doesn't have to be that. I don't know what my animal would be. I don't know. It'd have to be something with a loud voice that never shuts up. Some kind of a bird, a blue jay.
There you go.
There you go. It's a baseball bird. It's a loud bird.
You could fly to
nasty
Pittsburgh
every once in a while.
You could fly to the Pittsburgh Stadium and have a seat and watch every game up there that you want
For
to watch.
free.
Absolutely.
I like where we're going with this. I should be a bird. Yes, I should be a bird. I like that. Thank you. Scott is a manatee. Jamie says penguins are always in a tuxedo. Matt, are you going to be wearing a tuxedo?
Well, because I like to party.
That's a good point. Bud Ice gets the job done a lot quicker than you usually think, is what Ryan
I was going to say,
says.
Bud Ice was like a malt, like 6%er.
I think it was a 6%er.
Like an Ice House. It was kind of competing with Ice House. Yeah.
We had another text about Bud Platinum. I mean, it's like, that's being sold now. Can you actually find Bud Ice? Like Ice beer was really popular for a while there. Ice House.
So
Ice
gross.
House got out there, man.
So gross.
That was a college beer.
You drink one and it's like, okay, I drank one. Now I got to get something good. I can't sit around and drink 6 of those.
Right. It's the official beer of puking.
Yeah.
It's not anywhere you need to go with that. No doubt. Jamie wants to watch out for sharks and orcas if he's going to be a manatee too. Yeah. Watch out for the penguins. I'm not going to be a penguin because I'm never going to dress up like that. So speaking of that, by the way, so this next week, my son and I fly to Pittsburgh on Friday.
The Penguins.
There you go. I'm off next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday because we're in New York City. We're going to go see the Yankees and the Rays. We're going to go see a Broadway show. We're going to show my son Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty. And then we'll be in Cooperstown Thursday and Friday. But the first thing we do when we get into town, Friday night, go to sleep. Saturday, movie premiere. My father's in a movie called Grandpa and Shorty. It's a short movie. It'll be at movie expos and festivals, but we're doing a movie premiere. Like the whole thing, red carpet and all of that. I mean, I asked him if there were going to be literal paparazzi at this thing for this little movie premiere, but he said we've got to wear a coat. Like when do you think the last time I wore a sport coat?
In the summertime?
We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I don't have a choice. My son wore a suit to a bat mitzvah about a month and a half ago. So he's ready to go with this. It'll be the only other time he ever wears the thing because he grows so quickly. For me, I got a couple of suits. I don't know if I fit in those things. I haven't put a coat on like that for over 2 years. He's going to make me go shopping. He's actually going to make me go clothing shopping to be a part of his movie premiere. Or do you think I can just be a bird and fly overhead and watch like that? Another reason to be a bird. You can go to all of those big events without ever having to dress up. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts on halftime. Back in just a moment to wrap up hour number 2.
This is halftime.
Hot summer soon gives way to fall hunting season. And with the new Arkansas Early Bow Hunt, now is the time to get your new Hoyt Alpha X or the Carbon RX-8 dialed in. Check out the new Lift compounds from Matthews, the bow that puts aluminum in a new light. Sub 4 pounds and shooting 348 feet per second. Jelco Outdoors, your full-line archery store in the River Valley. Get ready for fall bow hunting at Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith.
Pay attention. This happens fast. You need money. You get a job. Turns out that job doesn't pay near enough for the nonsense it puts you through every day. You want to move fast, but the clock moves slow. You're smart, though. You know machines. You want to work at a place as fast as you. You call Medley Equipment Company. They need a technician, and they'll teach you everything you need to know to be the best, with pay raises all along. Because Medley keeps you moving.
I'm Branch Manager Dennis Mabry. Visit MedleyCompany.com or see us at 4001 Harper Avenue, Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Patriot Transport wants to thank their drivers for their hard work and dedication. The local and over-the-road drivers are essential to the Patriot Transport mission. Day in and day out, Patriot Transport drivers are on the road striving for safety and success. To the behind-the-scenes dispatch and office employees, Patriot Transport thanks them as well for the hard work they put in day and night. If you want to be a part of the Patriot Transport family, visit patriottransport.com. Patriot Transport is located in Danville, Arkansas.
Family, that's what sets us apart. Crabtree RV Center, founded in 1950 by E.J. and Aline Crabtree, family owned and operated, serving Arkansas for 74 years.
I've been working full-time here at Crabtree RV since 1996 after graduating from the University of Arkansas, where I'm proud to carry on my grandparents' legacy.
I know if Mom and Dad could see Crabtree RVs today, they would be so proud.
Crabtree RV Center in Alma, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years.
Do you want to see the Dallas Cowboys take on the Philadelphia Eagles at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas on November 10th? Can you eat a Monster Burger in 150 seconds to qualify for the football trip of a lifetime? It's the 19th annual football trip of a lifetime brought to you by Hardee's, ESPN Arkansas, and hitthatline.com. Go to hitthatline.com for more details and let's secure your seat at the table.
It seems like everything is more expensive this year, but replacing your AC doesn't have to be. If you need to replace your AC this summer, before you commit, price check with Paschal. You can save money and use the professionals to replace your system. Enjoy the peace of mind knowing you chose the best option for your home. Visit gopaschal.com and with just a few clicks, see how much you can save with the Paschal price check. Paschal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Hi everybody, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center with exciting news. Backed by popular demand, state sales tax paid when you trade on our huge inventory of Road Ready certified vehicles. That's right, this month get the best used car your money can buy, Road Ready certified with warranty, and get your state sales tax paid when you trade. One more reason all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Do you need an attorney that you can actually speak with? You need Hickey & Hull Law Partners. The attorneys at Hickey & Hull understand the importance of client communication and are taking the time to meet you, respond to emails, and return calls. Every case is important, and they strive to give each one the time and attention it deserves. Call today, 479-434-2414, or visit them online at kevinhickeylaw.com. Hickey & Hull Law Partners. Things are about to get better.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
In my face and mouth to cut the chunky with the plastic eyeballs. Spray paint the vegetable stock stalls with the beefcake pantyhose. Kill the headlights and put it in neutral. Stock car flaming with the loser of the cruise control. Baby Reno with the vitamin D. Got a couple of couches, sleep on the love seat. Someone came saying I'm insane to complain about a shotgun wedding and a stain on my shirt. Don't believe everything that you breathe. You get a parking violation and a maggot on your sleeve. So shave your face with some mace in the dark. Saving all your fruit stands and burning down the trailer park. Yo.
Listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We brought up Andrew Armstrong, Arkansas wide receiver, a couple of segments ago with Mike Irwin. I saw on Armstrong's Twitter X account, he is giving away 2 copies of the EA Sports College Football 25 by doing a guess the number, one for PS5, one for Xbox. It's a pretty interesting way to give it away. And I don't know if he'd given them all away, but by about an hour and a half ago, he'd only given one of them away. Armstrong last year, Matt, led Arkansas with 56 catches, 764 receiving yards, and 5 receiving touchdowns. It's the fewest yards for a leading receiver at Arkansas since 2019. I would expect that he's able to get to those numbers, if not better than those numbers. But you need another wide receiver that can give you 600 to 700 yards, maybe 800 yards. I guess I'd be surprised if there's a 1,000-yard receiver this year. Part of that is also because Taylon Green has never thrown for more than 2,042 yards in his career. He's got to have more than 2,000 this next season, is my guess.
Yeah, I think he'll if he's healthy, Taylon Green will have 2,500 yards passing minimum. No question about it. I agree with 100% of everything you just said right there, Phil. Andrew Armstrong, in my opinion, is a beast. I'm an Andrew Armstrong fan. That dude got better last year. Last year was his first year in the SEC. It's going to be a little learning process, a new offense, and you're learning. You got a new quarterback. I get it. The talent for Andrew Armstrong, he has it. That dude is an SEC receiver, no question about it. He works on his craft. I don't know what his speed is. He could possibly play on Sundays. I mean, that's the type of talent he has. You got to get some help, whether it be the tight end, whether that's our A game, whether it's you're utilizing our tight ends we have, our big bodies, Tesla on the inside, whether it's the running backs in the screen game, the passing game, the draw game, whatever you're going to get them in. But you got to have a Z, you got to have an F, you got to be able to go 3 wide outs and burn them with speed. No question about it.
I can't wait to see how they use tight ends this next year.
They had Kobe Hamilton and Joe Adams, and there was one other guy they had on that. There was 3. I mean, there's 3 guys that played. I think he played for Minnesota. Yeah, there was 3 NFL receivers in that group with Petrino when they were doing all that things.
Back in just a moment for hour number 3 of halftime. It's 877-377-6963. Third hour of halftime is right after this.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive. And financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
The people have voted, and Evans Body Shop has been recognized. Voted best in the River Valley this year and 5 years running best of the best independent body shop. We are so grateful for the support of our community. EBS has hundreds of 5-star reviews and countless satisfied customers. We invite you to experience a customer service level that sets our shop apart from the others. Call or come by today to see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
What's new at Wheeler Power Sports? Short answer, a lot. All new Kawasaki Ninja 500, Z500, Eliminators, and Mule Pro Diesels. New Kawasaki Ridge side-by-side is now arriving. New Polaris Expeditions and Ranger XD 1500s. New Suzuki GSX 8R. New 2024 model Polaris Slingshots, including the Roush Edition, are now in stock. Check us out online at WheelerPowersports.com or stop by and see us at downtown Fort Smith at 901 North 11th Street. Wheeler Power Sports, keeping the good times rolling since 1967.
This is a public service announcement for hard seltzer lovers. Neutral Vodka Seltzer has arrived. Made with simple ingredients like vodka, seltzer, and real juice. Neutral tastes good. Like real good. So good that you'll never want to drink another artificial tasting seltzer again. Neutral's light and refreshing taste will show you what a vodka seltzer can be. Try Neutral, the one with the umlaut. Copyright 2023 Neutral Distilled Spirit Specialty, Los Angeles, California. Enjoy responsibly.
Get up to $6,500 off on 2024 GMC Sierras or $4,000 off and as low as 1.9% financing for 36 months with approved credit at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. The 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 has a 5.3-liter V8 engine, so you can conquer the road with confidence. Up to $6,500 off or $4,000 in discounts and as low as 1.9% financing. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather. For today, sunny and hot. Our high this afternoon, mid to upper 90s. We end up with a clear sky tonight, and overnight low close to 75. Sunny skies, mid to upper 90s again on Tuesday, and then showers and thunderstorms will rumble through Wednesday. High temperatures back in the 80s to low 90s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and spirits. KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 45 days. Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that would respect it. If I'm all right. Well, can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Well,
Bill said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
from the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. My heart, dog. Let's go, man.
I have zero respect for saying no moth at halftime.
Name of one Razorback. And vintage Matt Jones. Here we go. Right now, let's go to the field.
Call or text 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
And we get into our third hour of halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com 1 minute after 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Phil Elson, Matt Jones, Christian Johnston with you for another hour. Ruskin and Zach will take you after that. And we'll have Tommy Kraft, who is at Radio Row, coming up in about 15 minutes. Matt, Greg Sankey earlier today says, I am not a recruiter. He is, and I don't think he's talking about recruiting athletes for a team. It's about recruiting other schools for his league. And the number 16 is the number that he has probably brought up more than any other number. Meanwhile, it does look like the ACC may get a couple fewer members sometime by this next week. The rumors are flying fast and furious about Florida State and Clemson and potentially some other schools finding a way out of the ACC grant of rights. And then the next place they'd be looking at potentially would be the Big 12. You know, another thing that Sankey said, and we joke about this, but it's actually rare that somebody ever brings this up publicly from the leagues themselves. He said, we're the only conference where our name actually means something. And he's right about that. You know, the ACC, it should be renamed the Bi-Coastal Conference. The Big 10 and Big 12 have obvious numbers that they have more members than those numbers. The SEC is Southeastern. I mean, regardless of what you think where Texas and Oklahoma are, because Texas was in the Southwest Conference, of course, it is a contiguous part of the United States where you can legitimately say this league does actually have a name that describes what it is. It's not going to be changing anytime soon either. I don't think the SEC needs any more members. It's the Big 12 that potentially needs more members. They need potentially better football teams. It's not like they don't have good programs right now, but there's not, you know, looking back at the history of any of the programs for the Big 12, if I'm thinking about any of them right now, none of them have been, you know, quote unquote blue bloods, multiple national champions in the last 40 or 50 years. Clemson and Florida State would help bring that on to them. The SEC does not need that right now. This is not a league that needs to be any more difficult. This next year is already going to be maybe the most difficult season in the league's history with 16. And we still don't know what the tiebreaker situation is going to be like. I know Connor O'Gara had asked Sankey about that during the question and answer session. He said it's something they're working on, but nothing that they can actually detail to us yet. We're going to need to know what those tiebreakers are, because in a league with 16 members, 8 games, I could imagine there's 3 or 4 teams that are battling for second place. You may end up with 3 teams that have the identical record at second place. That tiebreaker is going to come in huge this next year. It's not going to be the thing that decides a team that goes to the playoff 12, but it will be a thing that decides who gets to play that extra game in the SEC championship.
It's going to be madness. It's going to be theater. There's going to be drama. It's going to be compelling. I mean, it really will be all season. So it's I guess it's the inaugural. I mean, it's not the first. But it is the first. But it's not it's the inaugural. Playoff 12. SEC's got 16 teams. It's Texas OU into it. There's a lot of excitement. I mean, there's a lot of intrigue. You're kind of what's going to happen, and I think it is. That's the thing, and I keep bringing up with Ole Miss, and I know Mike said the same thing too. But it's going to be interesting to see a team that's not used to having that spotlight. How much does Lane Kiffin kind of shield his players, protect his players? What is his attitude towards it? I think he's going to be a humble Lane Kiffin. I think there's going to be some humility. Not beat your chest, because if you're supposed to win it, I think he'll be sitting back like a cobra waiting to strike. Like there's no reason to be all flamboyant about it right now. Let your talking happen on the field, but it's going to be interesting to see. They start believing their press clippings. They do have a little adversity. What happens then? But then I go back to Phil. You just got to. I say you just got to, but you got to win 10 games. You know how many SEC teams won 10 games last year? Over 6 of them. There's six SEC teams aren't getting into the playoff 12. So, if 10 games, is that the number that you got? How many losses can you have? And does it matter who beats you just as much as anything? If you have a loss to Georgia and a loss to Texas, but still win 10 games, you're probably going to be, if those are your 2 losses, I'd have to say you're in the playoff 12.
Toughest game on the Ole Miss schedule is Georgia. They get them in Oxford November the 9th. It's after Arkansas hosts them in Fayetteville on November the 2nd. You're going to see, look, Ole Miss is going to win their first 4 games. Pardon me. Furman, Middle Tennessee, Wake Forest. It's on the road in Winston-Salem, and Georgia Southern. They don't have a league game until week 5 is Kentucky. So, that'll be a tough one. The game is in Oxford. Then it's South Carolina. Talk about like reading your own clippings. They very well could be, and in fact, I think Ole Miss will be 6-0, and probably going into LSU week,
and probably not tested too much. Like there might be one game in there, but those games you're listing right there going into that, they probably win all those games by over more than 1 score. I mean, it's more than 8 points or more.
Just double checking to see when Stoops talks with Kentucky, because we all forgotten the situation with him and A&M after the season last year. It wasn't public or anything like that, but the idea was
he was the guy.
They wanted him. He wanted A&M, but there was too much of an outcry from Aggie fans, and so he ends up going back to Kentucky. Got an extension, if I remember correctly. That's why it's like you're looking at A&M and the pearl clutching from the Jim Schlossnagle situation. And look, we got on Schlossnagle for it too, and maybe it had more to do with his comments from the day before. A&M went and took away a sitting athletics director from a school in the Big Ten from Nebraska, and came that close to taking Mark Stoops away, the most successful coach at Kentucky since Bear Bryant. So there's got to be questions to him about that, but you just get a no comment when it comes up, pretty sure. But yeah, Ole Miss 6-0 before they play LSU. I could see that without question.
They got OU? Is that their crosstown? They don't have
they
Texas.
They do get OU.
They get OU. Yeah.
It's in Oxford. It's after their first off week, and then those 3 games from October 26th through November the 9th. That's the toughest 3-game stretch for Ole Miss. OU in Oxford, the Razorbacks in Fayetteville, and then Georgia in Oxford. 2 of those games at home. Those are the tougher games for them. Coming into Fayetteville has never been the easiest thing for Ole Miss. So that's definitely one worth circling. Lane Kiffin speaks in about 45 minutes, and then Clark Lee at 3:20 and then it's all said and done, at least for the remainder of the day. And then find who we got tomorrow. I don't have it on there. No use just trying to look around for it. But I know Sam Pittman's the first one to speak on Thursday. And just like Mike had mentioned, I know there'll be some questions to Coach Pittman about job security and making it through the year and everything. And that's probably the coach that will get those kind of questions more than anybody else. Maybe Lee gets some of those. Maybe Napier gets some of them too. But I think it'll be Pittman that gets more questions about that than any other coach. Not like you can give a satisfiable answer outside of just win. You got to win. That's what it's about. If the coaching staff is going to stay intact, then they're going to have a good couple of months. They're going to beat teams that nobody expected them to beat. And right now, I think there's a lot. Now the preseason poll will come out once media days are complete. Matt, I think there'll be many media members that pick Arkansas to go 1-7 in the SEC this year. If you find a way to win two more of those games, you're going in the right direction. I don't know if you say that's like enough wins or whatever, because you want to be better than 500, but I just generally expect that will be the nationwide and league-wide expectation for Arkansas in the league this year.
It's a results-driven league. That's true. I think you could ask him about the Twitter when he got off of Twitter for a couple weeks and was spouting mental health, talking about stuff like that. That would be a good question to ask him. About the Twitter, about the social media, about the negativity. I know we had a writer talk about how it was the fans' fault that we're not getting recruits and all that stuff. I wonder about all the mental health stuff. I mean, he did get off of Twitter for 3 weeks last year, and that was the reason he gave. So that might be a question you'd want to ask him more than, I think the hot seat question, which is going to get asked. I just think it's a boring question. I think it's a no question. It's not even worth asking, because every one of these coaches, it's a results-driven business, and once you get there, if you lose, you're gone. I mean, that's just how it works. If you can't make it to a bowl game 4 years in a row or whatever, then we'll have to go. We're going to have to try somebody else.
I want to know about depth at linebacker. Who are the linebackers that Sam thinks could emerge this next year? The more I think about depth on the defensive line, the more I think that there could be a little more depth there than we think. Again, I think the offense takes a big step forward. I do wonder about the front seven, so that'd be something I'd ask him about. And we may have a chance. I'm not sure. We know we'll get the players on Thursday. I think Coach Pittman will be on the morning rush. If we have a chance to speak with him on halftime Thursday, we'll take that opportunity as well. Our coverage at Radio Row in Dallas, brought to you by Limbird Real Estate Group. They serve all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. Get a cash offer on your home in 72 hours for all your real estate needs. Go to LimbirdTeam.com and make sure you're also visiting hitthatline.com all week for more coverage of SEC Media Days. Tommy Kraft stops by halftime right after this.
This is Halftime. The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Coach, you mentioned money. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you how much do you have on Mystic Dan at Churchill Downs?
I had 100 across on it, is what I had, and it paid $37.22. And I'm just like you. I go, well, hell, I knew 18-1 was going to win.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9, only on ESPN 95.3 and hitthatline.com.
Whether it's torque, horsepower, or just extreme work, diesel trucks do their job. But when your diesel truck needs maintenance or repair, it's time to head to Extreme Diesel. Everything from standard maintenance to extreme repairs, including injector testing. Extreme Diesel delivers. They have the tools and service for your Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. You trust your truck to deliver on your needs, and you can trust your truck at Extreme Diesel. 6630 Alma Highway between Van Buren and Alma. Check them out on Facebook or give them a call at 651-3363. They're bilingual, now offering CP4 solutions for both Chevy and Ford.
Do you need help with your next project? Metters Lumber True Value is here to help. A family-owned business since 1936, the staff has more than 90 years of experience in construction and the hardware business. If they don't have what you need, they know how to get it, and they are more than happy to accommodate your special order. So whether it's building a new deck, a paint project around the house, or needing a new set of tools, Metters Lumber True Value has everything you need. With locations in Alma, Ozark, and Clarksville, and you can shop online at metterslumber.com. Metters Lumber True Value.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep Westark Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
Westark Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
And we're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
Best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
Summer is here and adventure is calling. Visit Southern Tire Mart for a new set of Yokohama tires to get your vehicle ready for summer travels. Southern Tire Mart is your trusted partner for top quality tires, professional services, and competitive pricing. Visit us in Fort Smith at 9700 Highway 271 and let Southern Tire Mart ensure your vehicle is ready for the open road. Southern Tire Mart is a proud dealer of Yokohama tires. We keep America rolling.
Presented by Sharp Equipment. Get hooked on Sharp Equipment this year. Sharp Equipment has hooked up with Eastern Oklahoma Guide Service for a free guided fishing trip with the purchase of any Wacker Newson equipment. Along with getting a superior piece of equipment, you will get hooked up with a free guided fishing trip for the chance at a catch of a lifetime. Visit them at Sharp Equipment, 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or call them at 479-242-1406.
What's new at Wheeler Power Sports? Short answer, a lot. All new Kawasaki Ninja 500, Z500, Eliminators, and Mule Pro diesels. New Kawasaki Ridge side-by-side is now arriving. New Polaris Expeditions and Ranger XD 1500s. New Suzuki GSX 8R. New 2024 model Polaris Slingshots, including the Roush Edition, are now in stock. Check us out online at WheelerPowersports.com or stop by and see us at downtown Fort Smith at 901 North 11th Street. Wheeler Power Sports, keeping the good times rolling since 1967.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Looking for adventure. And whatever comes our way. Yeah, I gotta go make it happen. Take the world in a loving embrace. Fly all of the guns at once and explode into space. I like smoking lightning. Heavy metal thunder. Racing with the wind. And the feeling that I'm under. Yeah. So we could happen. Take the world in a loving embrace. Fire all of the guns at once and explode into space. Like a true nature's child, we were born to be wise. We can climb so high, I never wanna die. Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Headed right to the Omni Hotel, Dallas, right now. Tommy Kraft is with us. He is at SEC Media Days at Radio Row. Our coverage presented by WT Equipment, WTEquip.com. WT Equipment, your partner in progress. Tommy, it's been a long day, man. I mean, you host a radio program in the morning. You got 4 press conferences to sit through, and 5 actually. That Sankey spoke as well. You got the players going on, and you can hear it all going around you. You got your energy up?
Well, I'll get a good nap during Clark Lee. He'll be up a little bit later on. Let's see, what time is my nap? He's in the main room at 3:20 to 3:50, so I figure I could catch a few Z's during Clark Lee's address.
Very good. That works. That could definitely. It's a good thing they scheduled them last. They did
Vanderbilt
that on purpose.
coach, for those that don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's reasons why they schedule people at a certain spot.
Yeah. No, it's been active. I was telling you as we were getting ready to go on, and I guess it's on College Football Live. Just, 10 feet to my left is Brian Kelly sitting on a set, and just right behind me now is Shane Beamer. They're making their rounds here on Radio Row, but it's set, and it was nearly an hour total of Greg Sankey's kind of what I think is a State of the Union of college football, guys. He spent his first 10 or 15 minutes going over the accomplishments of the league, but really got into, there is no easy button to fix all of the problems. He talked about, what's going to happen with Congress, but more or less the crux of what he wanted to talk about as far as the future of college athletics, not just football, but all the sports, is how do you get a levelized, equal playing field across all of not just the SEC schools, but across the board in college athletics? How do you navigate that without a national standard when each state has a standard, and you're trying to maneuver around about 5 different what he called playing courts that you're working through? So the idea that we're going to fix this problem overnight, he made it pretty clear that that's not going to happen.
We talk about like a level playing field. Look at the various major leagues. All of those teams share equally in the national media revenue. Every team in a college conference shares equal amounts of national TV revenue and media revenue. But the conferences are not equal in the money that they bring in. That's what all of this movement has been about. So, for really the idea of having a level playing field across college sports, I think is impossible unless the conferences break up and you have one big deal where everybody is sharing the exact same amount of media money that's coming in. Otherwise, we're talking about a different situation. And even inside the league itself, I mean, are we being honest here about are the Razorbacks and the Georgia Bulldogs playing the same sport? It's football, but it's a different way that they build their teams. It's a different way that their organizations are built, and it's a different money that's available.
Yeah, no, you're right. And there was a question from the reporters here about the rumors of Florida State and Clemson. Of course, Sankey wasn't going to take the bait, but to the point you're making is, we're not done with change, and we may not be done with conference realignment. There's some smoke around Clemson and Florida State, and whether or not they're going to head to the Big 12, which will further redefine the dynamics of how the revenue will be shared moving forward. And I think really pare it down to what I think is a power 2.5 now. You'll have a power 3, and the ACC will probably at some point go the way of the Pac-12.
Hey, Tommy, did you get a chance to listen to Coach Kelly of LSU speak? And do you think that LSU is going to contend to be in the playoff 12 this year?
I did listen to Coach Kelly. If their defense is better, he thinks they've got a chance to contend. Their offense is going to be pretty solid with Nussmeier at quarterback. Not a lot of turnover there, but. Now, I'd like to start with a Harold Perkins. I mean, if I could start with Harold Perkins as my linebacker, that's a pretty darn good start. But obviously the defense last year is what let LSU down, and he spent some time, speaking to the things that they've got to work on. And defense is where it begins for the LSU Tigers.
That's Phil, didn't you? I think you said this. Didn't they lose their defensive coordinator and their D-line coach and their secondary coach? And didn't they kind of make an overhaul there with their defense?
They made a massive overhaul on the
cleaned
defensive
house.
side.
Yeah, they cleaned house.
But is there another quarterback in the league that's under more pressure is not the way to put it, but Garrett Nussmeier is replacing Jaden Daniels, okay? And the last time we saw Nussmeier, he was just okay. Now I'm sure he's developed behind Daniels, but it feels like a step down of some way. He's not going to be as dynamic as Daniels was, and I really can't think of another quarterback that might be under pressure to try to step into a role and really make it his own.
Well, Quinn Ewers already has that. Rod say Quinn's the top quarterback probably. I would expect him maybe to be the the media's pick as first team All SEC. But I think from there it's kind of open, and I think Nussmeier will be somewhat in that conversation. But no, I think to your point of having that sense of urgency and that that all heaped upon your shoulders to take your team to the final 12, I think is on his shoulders. I think for Brian Kelly, it's a lot of pressure this year because I don't know that making the SEC championship game is the requirement, but I bet most LSU fans expect him to be in that group of final 12 teams that will play for the title.
Yeah, I think so too. I wonder. We've been kicking around the idea of we're expecting Andrew Armstrong leads Arkansas in receiving for a second year in a row, and wondering who amongst the wide receivers can be second in line, third in line, and maybe I'd forgotten a little bit about the dynamic duo of tight ends that finished true freshman seasons last year with shoulder injuries, but before those injuries occurred, there was a lot to like about both Luke Hasz and Ty Washington in terms of pass catching ability, running after the catch. Maybe your second best weapons, maybe your best weapons are tight ends.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to say just pass catchers, yeah, I'd say Luke Hasz has to be in that conversation. I'd like the answer to be Isaiah Satania. Man, I'd love to see him get loose in the open field a little bit more. But teams are going to be very aware of his speed.
Hey, do you think, Tommy, do you think that Arkansas will have any offensive player on first or second team but when this thing is done? As far as preseason at the media picks, do you think Armstrong, Hasz can do it?
I don't know if it'd be first team. If there was one that was going to be amongst them on the offensive side, it'd be Hasz. Landon Jackson would be – I think Landon Jackson's Arkansas's best pro prospect on the team.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So I think Landon Jackson would be the other one. So if we're just going to pick maybe best player either side of the ball, I'd go Landon Jackson would be the one on defense, and I'd say Luke Hasz would be the one on offense, in my opinion.
What's reasonable numbers? We're going to talk about numbers for Taylen Green. What 2,500 yards, 3,000 yards passing through the air. 700 yards rushing. What are the numbers we're getting to? It might be, hey, how good are you on third down? How good? What's your percentage? What's your passing percentage in the red zone? It might be littler things like that. But in the macro, what do you think that it's reasonable numbers for Taylen Green this year?
Oh, I think it's going to be far more balanced than what we saw with the run heavy, approach that they had with KJ last year. But, is 2,500 to 3,000 yards asking too much in a Bobby Petrino type offense, particularly if you keep your tight end healthy all year? I think you've got some options at wide receiver, but guys, this offense, I think a lot of people are wait and see because they really don't know how Taylen Green's going to perform on an SEC level or an SEC stage. And that's my one hang up is, can Taylen Green get it done against the schedule that Arkansas faces? I guess we're going to find out in Stillwater, Oklahoma, early September.
I'm looking at a quarterback in Green who completed 57% of his passes last year for Boise, and that's got to be a better percentage. But I also know Bobby Petrino is not going to go out and recruit some slappy at quarterback. Like he knows the position, and he also knows how to help somebody improve from one year to the next. So that's got to be the biggest aspect of offense as well for this next year. Like he's going to be able to run. How accurate will Green be?
To me, it still comes back to how well will Carmona and Blackstock be at your tackle spots. You got 3 new guys that are expected to be starters up front with Nichols at center. Got Kudus and Braun back as the guards. One thing we know, and Clay has said this a million times, you don't let the quarterback get hit in a Bobby Petrino offense. How well can they protect this guy? Matt, do they roll the pocket? Can this guy be more drop back? I'm interested to see because he's not going to be able to take off and run the way KJ did. I'm not saying he can't run the ball, but he's not going to be that kind of runner. Matt, how do you protect this guy? That we may not know the real answer to until we see him play real football.
Yeah, and I think to your point, in a Petrino offense, he'll get rid of the ball quicker, and that's one way you can kind of stop the blitz and get the ball outside to your playmakers as quick as you can.
Yeah, because when Harold Perkins is breathing down your neck, it's just a different level than what he's seen at Boise State. How will he make those decisions in that 10th of a second?
Yeah, we've seen Harold Perkins with once you feel the breath on your neck, it's pretty much
You
over.
got to run right at him. If that's the thing. If he's in a chase mode, he's going to catch it. He's too good of an athlete. You can't really do outside anything. You just got to run right at him and take your chances.
Tommy said that he was right there next to him just before we started this segment. What does Harold Perkins look like without pads and a helmet?
Well, he's in a suit and tie, so hard to tell, but he looked like a full-grown man. Brian Kelly talked earlier about his weight because he was questioned about, are they preparing him for his next job as a pro football player or helping this football team right now, because he played inside. And I think, Matt, you can speak to this greater, but most don't believe he'll be an inside linebacker at the next level. And he talked about him putting on, I think he said 20 pounds of good weight. And, so he looked – I don't have a good enough frame of reference, but he looked like someone I'd want on my side if things turn the wrong way.
Yeah, he's going to be a linebacker that goes side to side and can chase you down and uses athletic ability. And the thing about Perkins is he can make one-on-one tackles in space that can save chunk plays, because usually when it's one-on-one, it's advantage the ball carrier, not when Perkins is there.
Well, and to me, he's your best athlete, probably on the defensive side, most versatile. And, you say he's an inside linebacker, but how many times does he step up to the line of scrimmage and then drop back, or maybe he blitzes? He can go lateral. I mean, there's just so many things he can do because, as you were saying, his athleticism, you may list him as an inside linebacker, but really he's kind of a rover out there.
There you go.
He can do it all.
He's like the rover that you like, a Tony Bua almost. Like you just put him anywhere and you scheme it up where you know that he can be open and let him play free.
Yeah, and he usually finds the football when the play's over. So
well, what's the depth of linebacker at Arkansas? That's a position that I just don't know. We haven't seen enough of them, play to really have a sense. But I know about Xavier Sorey, Alex Sanford, Brad Spence. That's a position, I don't know if I say of worry, just haven't seen them enough yet.
Yeah, I think you're going to be a nickel a lot as a result. And I think that, you're going to have maybe a couple of those guys out there. And, the question is, I think you're in 4 down and 2 linebackers and a lot of nickel throughout the year. But, yeah, I mean, Brad Sorey is really the one you've seen the most of. And then you look at Sorey and Worth and Dix, they're all transfer players. So unless you want to base a real opinion on spring football, I'd say it's a wait-and-see deal. But, I mean, as long as I've been doing this, there's been very few seasons we didn't ask about depth at linebacker, and I'm sure that's going to be a perennial question tomorrow to the head coach at Arkansas, because it seems to come up every year.
It's got to be pretty cool that this event also coincides with the All-Star festivities being just right down the highway, 15 or 20 minutes away. Home Run Derby tonight, All-Star game tomorrow. You going to try to fight and find a ticket to either of these things?
Which would be the harder ticket to get? The Home Run Derby?
I guess, my guess
or the All-Star game.
If you wear a Columbia national team jersey, they let you in.
Matt, you'd be so proud. I stayed up at, 15 after 11 or something.
That started late, yeah.
I watched all the way to the end of regulation and then extra time and then more overage time, and I was so disappointed when they scored that goal, because the reason I stayed up is I wanted to see some penalty kicks.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, go ask Nick Saban for his credential. That'll get you into the All-Star game, okay?
I'm walking through there to hook up the recorder, and I'm kind of in a hurry, and I'm walking with a sense of urgency, and I'm walking behind this stage, and Laura Rutledge was there, and she, of course, noticed me as I walked by, and I looked, and there's Nick Saban. I just kept on walking, like, kind of caught me off guard. And he turned around, and he looked right at me, and I just kept on going before I got yelled at. So
that's funny. That's because I've had instances like that too.
Everything about that was true except Laura Rutledge locked eyes with me. Everything else was true. So
every once in a while, when you run into a famous person like that, your thoughts come through your mouth. Like I did that before. Like Matthew McConaughey was on a flight of mine, and I remember my daughter running right past him, and as I'm running and chasing her, and she was like 4 years old. Out of my mouth, I mean, I literally said, "Hey, that's Matthew McConaughey," instead of just thinking it. You must have said the same thing with Saban right there.
So Sankey's up there, and he gets a question about Nick Saban's value to the game of college football and to the league, and then Brian Kelly gets a question in reference to Nick Saban as well. And I thought, and I kind of both times I physically turned around and looked. And the first time when Sankey was speaking, Saban had spun his chair around on the SEC Network set, and he was watching the commissioner's address. He had his back turned to Brian Kelly, but I thought that was an interesting dynamic, that someone that comes up in the questioning or the conversation of media days the subject of the question sitting in the back of the room. That I don't know that I've ever witnessed that before.
Well, it looks like who do you got? It's Lane Kiffin coming up in about, 15 minutes or so?
Yeah, where'd my schedule go? Ty just moved on my paper. I think it's 150 for Lane Kiffin, and then Clark Lee at 3:20. I'm interested. I'm going to get in there in a minute and see what Coach Kiffin has to say. Obviously, with the loss of his father last week, his tone may be a little different, but I expect him to tell some great stories about his dad and then talk about his football team.
Well, we'll be listening when he does talk. Tommy, appreciate you coming on. We'll have you on tomorrow. We'll have you on Wednesday as well.
All right, sounds great.
Thanks, Tommy.
Tommy Kraft is at Radio Row at SEC Media Days. Our coverage presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback in Fayetteville, by WT Equipment, and by the Limbird Real Estate Group. You can call, you can text halftime 877-377-6963. Back right after this.
You trying to say Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball?
This is Halftime. ESPN Arkansas is kicking off college football live from Radio Row in Dallas, Texas at SEC Media Days. Our shows provide insight on player and coach interviews, including special moments throughout the entire week. Make sure to tune in to the Morning Rush, Halftime, and Ruskin and Zach to get this unique coverage presented by the Stadium Shop on Razorback, WT Equipment, and Limbird Real Estate Group. You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
Home is everything. It's your sanctuary, your command center, your music room, and your art studio. It's where you eat family dinners and make lasting memories. When you use a Weichert agent to help you find your home, we'll help you find the space to make it yours. When you begin your search, know that a Weichert agent will be there with you every step of the way. Because at Weichert Realtors, we guide you home. To get started, call your local Weichert agent and look for our bright yellow signs all over town. At Weichert Realtors, we sell more because we do more. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
Here's Brooke Burke for Skechers' new Workout Walker footwear.
Do you know the world's #1 most popular form of exercise? It's walking. And one company has you covered. Skechers, the comfort technology company, with their newest performance walking sneaker, Skechers Workout Walker. Because the Skechers Workout Walker is fully loaded to get the most out of your walk, including a carbon-infused plate in the sole to add more spring to your step. Find Skechers Workout Walker for men and women at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
You're listening to Halftime live from the Crabtree RV Center studios. Crabtree RV Center, where RVing is life.
Where can you get good neighbor service and surprisingly great insurance rates? At State Farm, because State Farm agent Heath Roberts is your one-stop shop in the River Valley for the service you deserve at the price you want. So stop looking around. State Farm agent Heath Roberts is ready to help. Call 479-452-4088 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family, from general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Davis, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Now offering same-day crowns. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
COP CDL Academy is a licensed Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration that provides the federal required training to obtain both Class A and Class B CDL licenses. Our program provides assistance with employment after graduation. We have finance and grant options available. Students straight out of class have started new careers earning $70,000 to $140,000 per year, and training is provided for all 50 states. Call today, 479-632-1050, COP CDL Academy.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive, or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Has your job been grinding your gears lately? Then let me tell you about Lavorne Lumber.
They're looking to fill a regional over-the-road position. They use brand new equipment, and you're home every weekend. Don't think you're getting paid enough? That's not the case at Lavorne Lumber. They're highly competitive in that area. So if this sounds like a great next job opportunity for you, then stop by and see Pam and the Bills Monday through Friday from 9 to 4 at Lavorne Lumber. 515 Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith and online at Lavorne, Lovvorn lumber.com.
Walk-Ons is always a win, whether it's for a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner. Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into their mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game.
ESPN 95.3. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing now. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I can't sleep at night. Yeah, you really got me now. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing now. Oh yeah, you really got me now.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Into the home stretch here of halftime. The baseball draft has been going on for another 40 minutes. Nobody's been connected to Arkansas just yet. 3rd through 10th round today. And there's a lot of familiar names that have gone. SEC players. Dakota Jordan just got selected by the Giants. 116th overall. Peyton Stovall was just picked right now. The Cincinnati Reds have taken Peyton Stovall with the 117th overall pick. 4th rounder. Second Razorback to go in the draft.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. I knew he was going to go. I knew he was getting drafted today. It was just a matter of when and who. But just seeing Stovall, his name pop up as we're live on the air, that gives me a good feeling.
That's so cool. Absolutely super cool. My question, Phil, when Stovall makes his debut in the MLBs for the big leaguers, when he gets up there, he's called up, and I don't necessarily mean going up for like a 10-day or 2-week. I mean, making it up. Will it be as a Cincinnati Red, or do you think they get at that pick? Could he get traded and come up in as far as making his debut, not for a Red?
You never really know, because just look, Caden Wallace was traded. I don't know if it was over the weekend or it was just a few days before the weekend started. And it's a matter of what a team needs and
because
what you have to deal
Kerstead,
with.
for the Orioles, he's making his debut for the Orioles, but there was a shot and everything you were talking about that he could get traded because he is such a talent at AAA that he might not even make his debut if somebody wants assets or actually believes in him.
And I thought that was another reason they wanted to bring him up, to showcase that he can hit in the big leagues, to put him on the trade block, because I do think Baltimore could use another arm. That's what the Royals wanted. They traded for Hunter Harvey from the Nationals to strengthen the bullpen, and they send Caden to the Nationals, which, look at me, I think that's an organization he can rise pretty quickly through. But I think it has more to do with what the team needs at that very moment, how that player has performed up to that point, because no one's going to trade for you if you've had 2 bad years, no matter how high you were drafted. They're going to go by what you've done in the minor leagues, not by what you did in college at that point. So for Stove, I don't know how to answer it. It would just I think it would be I expect Peyton will hit in the minor leagues. I think he's an advanced hitter, and a left-hander that. I wonder about other positions for Stovall to play. We saw him play first base. He's a second baseman. I know he played shortstop in high school. I wonder if if the arm strength is there for third base. But as good as he looked on the right side, he can play a couple of different positions. And that's an aspect of, like, Bazana, who goes first overall yesterday to Cleveland. You really don't pick second baseman first overall. Is that going to be the position he plays? Being strong up the middle is really important, But a lot of second basemen were shortstops and didn't quite have the arm to play that position. Ken Bazana play the outfield, corner outfield. He's going to have to hit and hit a ton. Stovall, look, he can just be a steady presence, and I think that's what he was for Arkansas this year. We never saw Stovall at his best. And coming to Arkansas, and this is no fault of the team, this is no fault of his own, this is no fault of the coaching staff, this is just how things work out. It may have cost him about $1.4 million. If the rumors were true that he turned down $2 million to come to Arkansas, he signs for his slot value at $117 is $680,000, a little under $619,000, which is a good payday. And you could sign for more than that because that's just the slot value. They may save some money and put a little more into him. But you know who did make some money by coming to Arkansas? Hagen Smith. He was not going to be the 5th overall pick coming out of high school. He made himself a ton of money going to the University of Arkansas. A ton.
And you got to minus what you're saying, your $2 million. You got to minus that to what you just 1099 the last 3 years to your $600,000. So he didn't lose as much as he still got paid while he was up there at Arkansas.
Hagen's slot value as the 5th overall pick is worth just over $7.75 million. Yeah. So remember, we had a text from somebody a moment ago asking, why did it look like Hagen's father was so ticked off on camera when it was announced he was drafted? Maybe he was thinking about the taxes.
Ooh, Illinois, yeah, that's tax central right there.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, I mean, if he had gotten drafted before coming to Arkansas in 2021, I don't know what he would have signed for. Maybe $1 million or something like that. Maybe $2 million, but it wouldn't have been 7.8. He made himself a lot of money. Now, that's not a guarantee. That's what he signs for. That's just what his slot value is. But I can't imagine he doesn't get that, 7.8.
What a joy to watch this year, man. I know at the end of the year you kind of have some disgruntled fans, and it was a minority. But, man, you have to – I feel, and I know you've been calling these games for over a decade up there for the Hogs. You ain't seen anything like it, have you? I mean, like he just putting on a show.
The amount of bats that he missed – he's not going to miss the same amount of bats in professional ball. These are better hitters he's about to go face. He can be a star. It was huge for Hagen Smith is to master that split change or whatever changeup he does use moving forward, because his slider, his fastball already are big league quality. I think he could get up there and pitch in the majors right now as a reliever. If it's going to be as a starter, there'll need to be another pitch. And he's not going to be striking out 19 batters per 9 innings in pro ball, right? Probably not. But, yeah, and a huge congrats to Peyton Stovall, who, just to play as a freshman every day out of position at first base and be one of the main reasons Arkansas finished 3rd overall in the nation that year, and then to suffer through a miserable sophomore season that included – an absolutely horrendous injury that turned – you just need to see the look on his face when he threw a ball or anytime he swung a bat. That, as good of a feel-good story as Hagen Smith is, I feel just as good, if not better, for Peyton Stovall. Kid deserves everything that's coming to him. And so there's 2 Razorbacks who have been drafted so far. Hagen Smith at 5, Peyton Stovall at 117, and just Tyson Lewis, the shortstop out of Nebraska, high school in Nebraska, that went in the 2nd round. So he won't make it to campus. I'd imagine he's going to sign. But that's it. So far, it's only 3 people who are connected to the University of Arkansas that have been drafted in the Major League Baseball draft. All right, we'll wrap things up in just a moment. Don't forget, though, right now, at hitthatline.com. Well, it's not at hitthatline.com. We have our first qualifier for the football trip of a lifetime scheduled. It's this Thursday. If you want to see the Cowboys and the Eagles at AT&T Stadium, be at Hardee's on Phoenix Avenue on Thursday for the lunch qualifier from 11 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you finish a Monster Burger in 150 seconds or less, you qualify for the finals. That's the 19th annual football trip of a lifetime, and it is this Thursday, July 18th at Hardee's, 11 o'clock in the morning until 1. It's the Hardee's location on Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith. And we're back to wrap up halftime right after this break.
This is halftime.
Waiting on someone to bale your hay? Come in to Gray Brothers Equipment and let us show you how.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
This song hit number 2 without one guitar. Gary Wright traveled with George Harrison to India for spiritual enlightenment and wrote Dream Weaver, describing God as infinite love and compassion, seeing him through the trials of the night. Of the 330 million gods of Hinduism, not one will get you to the morning light, but only through the blood of Jesus Christ. Satan is a master deceiver, weaving many into make-believers. I'm Pastor Heath from Woodland. Think about it.
Hey, ESPN 96.3 and hitthatline.com. Have you been to Swark Liquor? Trey Gentry and his team have a phenomenal spot. It's the first liquor stop in Arkansas for our Dallas and Texas fans traveling up to the hill. So if you're heading to Fayetteville, the lake, a cabin weekend, hunting, fishing, or any other activity you need your favorite drink, stop by Swark Liquor. And check out their apparel too. You'll want to wear it. Swark Liquor, 864 East Colin Ray Drive in Queen, Arkansas. Swark Liquor, we promise to keep them cold for you.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty.
Just like witches at Black Masses. Always having a smoke, just taking a drag. Now they're going to bed, and my stomach is sick, and it's all in my head. But she's touching his chest now. He takes off your dress now, baby.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
Well, it looks like the last two pieces of the Arkansas men's basketball staff have been, well, they already were in place. It's just finally been announced that Riley Hall remains Director of Operations. Ronnie Brewer Jr., Director of Student Athlete Development. That release came from basketball a couple hours ago. So that was always the question that came through the text line, Matt, when we mentioned about any of the assistant coaches or other support staff that were announced by the basketball program within the last month. Everybody wanted to know about Ronnie Brewer, and he's still there. He was on the website back then. He's still on the website now, and now it's official. He sticks around with the coaching staff and has been and will continue to work for John Calipari.
One of the best smiles in the state of Arkansas, Ronnie Brewer. No question about it, man. He's something else, man. I think that's the one of the best moves Coach Cal's made when you're talking about getting the right locker room together, the right coaching staff, people that are going to be around everybody every day. Couldn't be happier for Ronnie. Also, Athletics emailed a release out really about 30 minutes ago. Arkansas Edge, the NIL collective, the official NIL collective for Arkansas, has brought in a new executive director. It is Kyle May. May had been top fundraiser at the Walmart AMP, also at the Walton Art Center, and as the director of development for the Walmart AMP. This is somebody that has raised over $5.5 million annually for the Walton Art Center, according to the release. And hey, if you're going to be the executive director of the official NIL collective of the Arkansas Razorbacks, you're going to need to be able to raise some money, a lot of it, and quick. So congratulations to him on the gig, and hopefully that'll help get NIL into a really, really good place. All-Star Home Run Derby is later on tonight. I mean, I guess how can you go against anybody that's not Pete Alonso? He's won it twice, and it'll be a third time if he does win it, but if I'd say this, like I've been to 2 home run derbies, 2 all-star games, 93 and 94. The games, I remembered the games more than the derbies, but it's the moments of the derby that leave your tongue hanging out. I saw Ken Griffey Jr. hit a ball off of the warehouse at the B&O at Baltimore. I remember seeing Frank Thomas hit one like 550 feet to the upper deck in Three Rivers. But I remember the games a little bit more, so I like the game more than the derby. I'm going to go with Aroldis Garcia. I'm going to go. He's going to win it tonight. That's why I'm taking the Texan.
We'll have a taco over the winner.
You're going Alonso,
I'll go Pete Alonso.
Now your pick has to win it for you to win. My pick has to win it for you.
Otherwise, we just don't eat tacos.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine a world where we don't eat tacos? It's a bad thing to close the show with,
but
that's where we finish it. Stay tuned for Ruskin and Zach. Download the Eastside Liquor Halftime Podcast. And for Matt and C-Unit, I'm Phil. That's Halftime. Get up, get out, and get better.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make